Here we are, hitting up events, drinking our way through Chicago beer, and trying not to miss a thing.
Yeah, because, got a cork popped out, boom, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it.
All you have to do is add some fruit, stir it up, and ride that milk-shaped wave.
Whenever I see him, I gotta take a photo with the most decorated brewer in Chicago, Jonathan Cutler.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to, every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Sometimes you want a small beer, but really, you want a big beer.
You gotta take in all those big aromatic hops.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Waiting in line for a bottle release?
You should have never been a fad. The black IPA is delicious.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
We're going to the moon. Summer's over, and we're going to the moon.
Junior Astronaut Juice.
Yeah.
From Illuminated Brew Works.
Right. I went there and picked this up. I'll get into that in a minute. But I believe there is a regular astronaut juice, right?
That's what it implies, right?
But this is a double dry hops. So
Yeah.
wouldn't the junior not be double?
This looks like it says lower gravity with the same hop schedule and the same late hop strategy.
Okay.
So, exact same beer, smaller ABV?
I like that.
Yeah. Because this is refreshing, and if it were any bigger, it probably wouldn't be. It would saturate your everything, right?
Yeah, it'd be too intense. I don't know. Just everything about this feels like almost the hazy juiciness you want, but just mellow. Like, I don't know, you can have two of them without being like, I guess I should drink that lager now.
Yeah, and then those hazies, if you don't drink them right away, the warmer they get, it feels like they get even heavier, Yeah. So this is all the flavor of a hazy, none of the guilt, like nice, nice, approachable hazy with a ton of hot flavor,
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I picked it up, because it was also towards the 6%, which I think a lot of beers had gotten a little too big as the hazy stuff took over, and they've started to come back down hard as people are switching off of beer, moving to other things, or just non-alcoholic stuff. So beer had to come down a little bit.
Yeah, because that was a hallmark for a long time, right? Do these big crazy beers and get noticed. But now I think the more you're into it, the more fatigued you get for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So
because you buy a 4-pack of a 9% beer, it's sitting in that fridge for probably longer than it should.
yeah,
6% beer, probably it's gonna go.
yeah. This is nice, man. I do enjoy this one. I noticed in tiny print on the can, brewed and packaged by the Great Central Brewing Company of Chicago.
Oh, so Great Central isn't going away.
Great Central is alive.
Alive on the moon. Yeah, I picked up these cans. I went out to Illuminated.
What was that? I want to say Norwood Park, maybe?
Norwood Park, which is Chicago.
I mean, technically it's in city limits.
It's as much of the city as Alarmist is, I guess.
Yeah, right? Then the Northwest side has a different feel from the rest of the city.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, Wicker Park kind of feels like its own thing, too. I was riding through there, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like anything else.
But that feels more city, even up here in Irving Park. It's a little like that in between,
Homes are a
city
little bigger.
and burb kind of thing.
That's true. Even though Wicker Park feels different, it doesn't feel less city.
Right.
When you're in Norwood Park, you're like, where the hell am I?
Yeah, I parked on a street, and I was like, I don't know if I can park here, because there's literally no signs.
Yeah.
Not even
No stop, no railroad, no.
I guess this is okay. I probably should go on a street that says no parking after, before 7 or something, just to be safe. But my car was okay.
Good.
And Illuminated is one of those breweries where I feel like I don't always gravitate to. I've had their beers over the years at festivals, at events. Nothing has wowed me enough to seek them out. Not that it's bad. It's just It's a little bit of those are good, and they're not my neighborhood brewery, so I don't feel inclined to go to get your stuff.
Yeah, kind of. I almost dare I say forgotten. I think I said that earlier, but I did. I was excited to see them at the last Friday night flights of last year, with the one that was outside of like Dovetail and Beguile. They were there, and I'm like, same thing. I'm like, oh, I never have your stuff. Let me try it. So I was excited in that respect. But it's I guess it's a neighborhood thing, right?
I guess
They weren't they down there by like Goose and all that stuff.
Were they for a minute?
I thought they were down there at one point.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because remember they were saying somebody was saying, I think it was Clint from Lake Effect, that IBW would do these crazy bonfires. Down by Chicago.
Were they over by Salvage One?
I think so.
Yeah.
Whatever that district's called. I think they were over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then they got their space up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So they clearly have a following, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm driving up there, so just on my way there, I passed like this Jamaican jerk place that looked pretty interesting, and then I drive by a full-on biker bar. This is straight out of the movies.
Like some Sons of Anarchy shit.
Yeah, like 30 bikes, a bunch of guys in leather standing outside, like they're just waiting for like the comical someone like bump into the bikes and knock them all over. I was like, these places are real.
You saw an actual biker gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wonder if I can ride my electric bike to this bar.
Oh, and just be
Kind of like
just be a biker dude.
Be a not a full member, but like a I don't know.
You're gonna walk in and it's gonna be like the needle skipped on the record, and everyone's just gonna turn their head and stare at you, and you're gonna be like, "Hey guys."
Hey, I rode my bike. But then, driving up to Illuminated, they're in like sort of this parking lot, and there's like a wine bar
Right.
that's way more prominent than they are. And I'm walking up after I parked my car because the directions said I was there, and I was like, "Is that the place, or where is it?" And then
It's like a strip mall, but with only like 3 things in it.
yeah, and one of them's like a car wash.
Right. It's like a car wash, a wine bar, and a brewery.
Yeah.
It's the smallest strip mall ever.
And then the lobster truck was there blocking.
Oh, Happy Lobster?
Yeah, it was blocking the sign or whatever for it. And I was like, oh, okay. Once I like got past the food truck, I was like, okay. And I was like, you look in there when you're walking in, and you have to turn down a hallway. But I looked and I was like, oh, is this like just a room? Like I was like expecting it to be it ended up being bigger or what I thought it was. But when I walked up, I was like, oh, this might literally just be like 3 stools and you get beer to go. I was like, oh, I thought I was going to be able to sit here for a while. It's blocked by like wood and everything, so you go down a little hallway to get in there. And then you're in what would be someone's garage.
Yeah.
Right?
If someone had a bar in their garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're blasting, I want to say they're blasting metal at the time when I walked in.
Yeah.
Kids were running around. And so this felt like the most neighborhood brewery I have ever been to.
Yeah. They must be onto something. They have a collab with City Winery. I saw that in Cannes the one time I went.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and I think I was there. They did a Oktoberfest, so it was like if you were a turtleneck, you got a beer.
Oh, funny.
And there was like a Ron Burgundy-esque character on their Oktoberfest can.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there for some Oktoberfest thing.
Yeah.
I was like, but it felt like there's a lot of unusual symbolism in this joint, you know?
Yeah, I think you described it as cult-like.
I'm like, if I go to this pisser and I'm not back in 5 minutes, you gotta come find me.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know what's going on in the basement type shit. You know.
I didn't go in any rooms because I had my laptop with me, so I was like just kind of chilling. I was waiting for the wife. She was at dinner with some friends, and I was like, well, I'll just go up here. So I was just doing some work, and so I was like, well, I can't leave my laptop. I don't trust these Norwood Park folks in this in this garage.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of leaving my laptop anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would leave my beer, but I wouldn't leave my laptop.
I'm taking my laptop. Yeah. Some people are friendly like that. They'll be like, "Will you watch my laptop for me?" And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's never something I've wanted to do though.
No.
For me, that's just like opening your laptop on like a CTA. Like I think the Metra, you drink beer, you open your laptop. On the CTA, not so much, but people do it.
Right.
People do it. I don't think I can do that kind of shit.
Those people, yeah, they're
You
living
get
their
this
life.
fucking thing snatched.
Yeah.
Quick, sir.
But it was a cool spot. The bar menu is kind of written in chalk, and I had a real hard time reading this.
Really?
But I went with the lager first. They do have a QR code, which helped later, and they had someone running around like getting drinks for people not directly at the bar because I sat adjacent to the bar. I had the lager. I had some other, I think, Citra Pale Ale. They were both tasty.
I wonder, they must be selling a lot of this beer if they scaled it up at fucking Great Central. That's all I think.
So it was busy. There was multiple dogs in there.
Dogs and kids.
And kids.
Man, they found their tribe.
And then, I don't know, whatever movie they were watching, they were watching Zoolander. That ended, and then everyone's like, put Clueless on, put Clueless. Everyone's like, this is a garage. Like, everyone knows everyone at this place.
Okay.
And it was like, this was really cool, but if I lived closer, I would go to it. But it felt like, I'm the outsider here. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, I've been to Norwood Park for that place. But outside of that, I really don't know what else I would go over there.
Biker bar.
Or the biker bar. Yeah. And I'm sure there's other stuff. It's just when I think of the Northwest Side, that's what I think of. Like that's the Northwest Side, like way far northwest.
Yeah, because you're on both sides of 1994 at that point, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like its own. It's like its own world, kind of. You know.
Yeah, after Jefferson Park, I sort of turn off. Like, oh, we're done.
I'm in Niles, right?
Yeah.
I'm in fucking Morton Grove. I have no idea what's going on, right?
But how does Norwood Park exist here? Where are you?
Yeah. So.
But it's awesome. Like I forgot Illuminated was in the city. And so it's great to kind of finally make it there. And we talked about on the last episode, like going to these places that it's all about the vibe, right? You need to be part of the neighborhood. And this hit like everything we talked about on the last episode was like, oh, this place succeeds because everyone here loves this place.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand this place. Not that I'll definitely be going back anytime soon, but I get why people are there.
Yeah.
And the beer's good.
I think that's part of it, right? Like the beer's good. This is a righteous can, and I do like this beer a lot.
So yeah, that was my only stop. Besides getting Miami Vice over at Lone Wolf.
Tell me what Miami Vice is again. You said when you were at one of your trips, you had a Miami Vice.
It's a pina colada, half strawberry daiquiri.
Got you. Okay, that's funny. It sounds good.
It's great. It doesn't sound good. It is good.
You know, speaking of pina coladas, I was at Peace this week. You know, because it was the last day of the lobster pizza.
Yeah, we both were by lobster things. That's
right. And but there's a Four Top next to me, and they have what looks like tropical drinks. And you know, I look across the board, and sure enough, man, Peace is selling fucking cocktails now. Yeah, they had a pina colada on, which was kind of funny, in like a pina colada type glass. I'm like, what is happening here? Because you notice it right away. You're like, well, that's not beer. Nor is that a beer glass. It looks like some shit out of, I don't know. So it looks like a fruity cocktail drink. So I was kind of surprised by that.
That's funny. I feel like that reminds me of my sister loves strawberry daiquiris.
Yeah.
We will go to a place that I don't even know. You could go to All Chevelle.
Okay.
Or small or whatever, and they like if they took orders or whatever, she would ask if they had a strawberry daiquiri, kind of like because she loves them so much.
That's funny.
It's like no, they don't have a strawberry daiquiri.
She's probably just making sure.
Yeah, but then that piece would now have this makes it's really funny.
Yeah, it's wild as hell. And then they had they had 8 beers on. One was a collab with Maplewood called Gothic Bozo.
Okay.
Then after that, they had the classics, Top Heavy Hef, Golden Arm, the Kolsch, the Weight, the Pale Ale, Roadhouse, Double IPA.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so a lot of classics. There was also an ESB and a Pils and a Czech Pils and a Foreign Extra Stout. So,
Okay.
yeah, just kind of popped in for the pizza, really. And just to see what else was on, because the guy was there. So, yeah, I popped in there. So cheers to them. Popped in the Half Acre for a second because they're doing their Wild Cove thing. Again, they just had like a handful of bottles they were selling.
They brought it back?
They brought it back. I would imagine that they're sitting on bottles because if they brought it back, I mean, ideally you'd have it on draft and have a launch party and that kind of shit.
Right, and need another space or area for it.
Oh yeah, because it's mixed culture stuff, right? I think this is what they had in reserve because you walk in and you go to that cooler and there's a ton of Fader in the cooler, and then they have just in the corner section of the cooler is the Wild Ale stuff.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Fader out there,
Yeah.
even though it's gone. I tell people who have it, I'm like, oh, well, it's gone, and they're like, huh?
They're like,
They
yeah.
don't even believe that it's gone. It's like everybody still has it.
Right. So I'm like, this can't be a new run of Fader. It's got to be the last of the Fader. But oh yeah. So got a couple Cove beers. I think a lot of those start as saisons, and then they hit them with mixed culture and some fruit and maybe some oak aging kind of thing. That's what I think what that is. Clear bottles. They make really good like breakfast brunch beers for the weekend. So got one of those. So cheers to them. Oh, I went up to Milwaukee, man.
Okay.
Went up to Milwaukee to check out this new pilot project.
Is that a Chicago neighborhood?
Milwaukee, Chicago's nicest suburb is what the kids would say. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right up 94. Yeah, nice little weekend getaway, man. Nice. I wouldn't say a weekend getaway. Milwaukee's a good day trip town. You go up for a few hours, you come on back. Yeah. So I went up there to check out pilot project. So apparently they bought this place in November. So time's flying, man. I didn't know it was that long ago.
That was the MKE?
Yeah, it was MKE.
Yeah.
So I haven't had MKE in like 10 years. Yeah. So I go up there and check this place out, and dude, it's bizarrely like really really large.
Okay.
Like I think it's like I don't know, just as big as like Revolution or something.
Oh, shit.
Like just a ridiculous space. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I think they're giving a tour, and I'm chatting up a guy who was probably the tour guide, and I'm like, hey man, well, what's going on here? He's like, yeah, this place is so big that pilot project isn't brewing in the biggest tanks they have yet. So it's a 60 barrel system, and they have 60 barrel tanks, fermenter tanks.
Okay.
But then they also have some 180 barrel fermenter tanks.
But they're like, we can't even.
They don't have a plan for them yet. So I think they're contract brewing for some canned cocktail company. I forget which one. He mentioned it, but I'm like, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Some RTD. So they're putting those in the big tanks. Timothy O'Toole chimed in and said that that's who makes their pale ale is Pilot Project.
Okay.
Yeah. And this started life as it's right across the street from all the Pabst stuff. There's like a Pabst museum and a bunch of Pabst old Pabst buildings.
Okay.
So this started as a Pabst shipping and receiving building. That's what this building was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So at one point, Pabst was the largest brewery in the world until 1940s. And they had 42 buildings in fucking Milwaukee. The largest brewery on the planet. This was their shipping and receiving core, this particular building. So that's why it was so big. And then I'm asking that guy, I'm like, yo, I didn't know MKE was making all this fucking beer. And he's like, that's the problem. They bought all these tanks. So Pabst left town in 98. MKE put all these big ass tanks in here. And then they just could never figure it out.
So they went big before they were like, if we build it, they will come kind of thing.
I think so. Yeah.
It didn't work out.
They had to sell it. That's what it sounds like. So, Pabst left in 98. MK bought it in 2008, put all these big ass tanks in, and then they sold it last year.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure the pandemic fully
I think that was the nail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was too bad. But it sounds like Pilot Project. They seem to be having a lot of fun in the space, man. Food's really good, and I think everybody who brews down here is brewing up there.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
Funky Town was up there.
Yeah, Funky Town, and this was an event. It was like some kind of local Milwaukee radio station that invited some Chicago breweries up.
Okay.
So I saw Funky Town, and I saw Moore's. I saw Casa Humilde. These guys are fucking hilarious. They're making coffee now, apparently.
Wait, are they brewing a pilot project?
I think they're there for this event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were there for this event. So these were just guests. It was like half Chicago breweries and half Milwaukee breweries, all at an event at Pilot Project.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good time. I'm talking to Casa Humilde.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what's up with this coffee? He's like, well, we got dual citizenship. We go to Mexico and pick these beans because these are Mexican coffee beans. And I'm like, so he's like, we work with an importer, but the plan is to really just go down there and just buy straight from the source and just cut out the importer at some point. But they're a roastery now. So
Where are they roasting?
that's a good question. It's not on the bag. Maybe they're roasting that fucking
Different brew yards?
right? The bag of coffee says coffee. It says Casa Humilde Roastery, and it doesn't say, "Hey, we're roasting at." It's not like beer where it's like we're roasting at Dark Matter. Or
Well,
something.
what's the space? What burb is the other space in?
Wheeling.
Wheeling.
Yeah.
There's that like giant room when you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a hostess kind of area, but then it's just merch.
Yeah.
All the beer and too much merch.
Yeah.
Shrink that down and make a roaster.
I mean, you can go full cafe, right?
Yeah.
You can go there for lunch and have some coffee. You can go there for breakfast.
You just get some coffee to go. People will be like, "Oh, I gotta get back. I did lunch. I had a beer. Better get a coffee to go."
The
I'm
fucking
out.
well, Peace does that bro bagel thing, right? Where they're taking grains and making bagels.
Sure.
I mean, right? So same, you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, bro bagel sounds pretty good. They do make a good sandwich.
Yeah.
Breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, they got a nice little sidewalk thing you can order from. I've been riding my bike, so I rode by Bro Bagel once. That's what it was on my mind. What was I gonna say? Oh, so when you think of them, Casa Humilde, I'm like, man, this is what Fire Rabbit could have been, And
Right.
I was like, I feel like you guys figured out what Fire Rabbit couldn't. And he's like, we're fucking Mexican, bro. Those guys were Costa Rican. He's like, I'm not saying they were trying to be Mexican, but he's like, we're just being us, It was so funny.
Being more Mexican.
It was funny. He was like, we're just fucking Mexican, bro. It was his whole style was just super fucking chill.
So he felt like they were trying to be Mexican.
Well,
He's like, we just are. And so this is the problem.
I mean, I don't know if he was speaking on behalf of them or for them. He was saying, listen, I don't know why they didn't work, but we're just being ourselves. Because I'm like, dude, I go to a lot of these fucking Mexican joints, little hole-in-the-wall joints. It's Modelo, Corona, and fucking Casa Humilde. It's very bizarre. All these block parties and like Pilsen, they have Casa Humilde sponsoring them. Like they have a wide footprint. But there's a ton of Mexican neighborhoods in the burbs and in Chicago, so it all makes sense.
Oh, of course. But man, speaking about them and just Pilot Project in general, like that model is killing it, or it's just like so good for some of these breweries like Casa Humilde. They don't have a brewery. They don't need to have a brewery because they can just keep making beer out of district brew yards. If they needed to scale it up, they could go to like Great Central or something.
Yeah.
They don't ever need a space, and they technically have 2 spaces.
Right.
Funky Town and Moores. At some point, a Pilot Project is supposed to kick them out. But if people are coming to Pilot Project to get Funky Town because they keep winning awards, people keep liking them stuff, they're great people. When you go to a festival and you see them, you're like, oh man, you just seem really fun to hang out with. Why would Pilot Project kick them out? Or like make them leave, be like, people are coming here. If you're not here, we got to build up another brand.
I think Funky Town might be the most popular brand that's ever come out of fucking Pilot Project. I was trying to think of the other brands.
Maybe the Booch, the Luna Booch.
Luna Booch, yeah.
But that's never be as popular as Booch can just, it's only so big.
What about Bobby the Booch's thing? That wasn't there, but
June Shine?
yeah. Would you say Luna Booch and June Shine are kind of parallel, or Luna Booch still?
I think June Shine's a little bigger because it's you can get it at more places, but I don't pick up hard kombucha that much, so I don't know if you're just like, I want a hard kombucha and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's almost like a wine cooler, like, oh, if it's Seagram's or if it's whoever else makes them, like you don't care because it's
You're
sugar,
going for Booch.
It's just sugar water or you're going for a hard Booch. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who makes it. So.
Yeah. I think Casa Humilde, they were talking about their friends have a ranch in Joliet. So when they do Casa Humilde Fest, they've done it 2 years in a row. They just party on their friend's ranch in Joliet. So they had 1,200 people last year. I'm just like, these guys are super fucking chill and they're rolling and good for them. And I had a barley stout from them, and I had like a fruited pale, I think, from them.
Yes, that's kind of stuff that also blows my mind. Where it's like they're existing in this space where it's like, am I supporting you if I go to just your brewery?
Versus like just buying their stuff at the store. Or?
It is like a weird thing where it's like you don't feel like you're like a Casa Humilde or even a Funky Town fan, or like, I go to your space, I love you guys.
I think that's so you hit on something important, right? These guys are winning because they're just being themselves, and that works for them.
Yeah.
But I think in their case, Casa Humilde and Funky Town, you might see them push for their own space as it relates to like maybe the margins, right? Because right now, hey, if you're brewing because you're not brewing your beer at brew yards.
They're only getting so much.
I mean, you have to whatever you're making at brew yards, you could be making more if you just brewed at your own space. And on paper, that's how it sounds like it would work, right?
Right.
So I think you'll see them get their own space based on that. But to your point, they don't really have to. They're out here. It sounds like they're both self-distributing, and they're carving their own footprint, and people are responding to it.
But then are they sucking the oxygen from the other people in like district brew yards? Does anyone care about Burn City, Around the Bend, and Twisted Hippo, or on the Pilots project like Moore's?
You mean Funky Town?
Yeah. Then are they taking it out of? Is it Moore's and Funky?
No. Moore's is 18th Street.
Oh, okay.
And Funky Town is Pilot Project.
And then Funky Town I don't even know who else is at Pilot Project.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
That's why, and this is the point I wanted to make. I think Pilot Project is supposed to be an incubator with a schedule, and you leave after like so many months. But I don't think I think Funky Town's probably staying as long as they want. That's the impression I get.
Right? Because how do you?
Yeah.
Like it becomes like are people coming into Pilot Project for Funky Town, or are they coming in because it's Pilot Project?
Right. Like what are there's that Azadi, and I only know that beer because you brought it once.
Oh yeah.
The
those
guys,
aren't bad.
the Indian guys. There's like the
Yeah.
Indian lager. Who else? They do Donna's pickle beer. Donna apparently was eating a pickle, and Mick Jagger called her on stage, and she kissed Mick Jagger, who had been drinking beer. Now she's making Donna's pickle beer. But yeah. But
Random thoughts on it all.
yeah. But good for them. Two fairly new brands, two brands that have a very hot hand. These guys, and actually Moore's included. Those three brands are fucking everywhere. So.
But then, wait, one more thought on this.
Yeah.
If they did open their own spot, are they as good of brewers as they are as marketers? Because they're not actually, they're helping brew these beers, but could they actually take them from start to finish?
I think
as well as District Brew Yards or Pilot Project does.
How much brewing at Brew Yards or Pilot Project? How much brewing are those all proprietor breweries actually brewing?
Right.
And when it's time for them to have their own space, there is for sure going to be a gap, right? There's got to be. It's a different system.
Yeah.
Because even remember we went to Pilot Project. No, we went to
District Brew Yards.
And they were saying, hey, we got one guy at this system, and this other system we bought is different. So that guy's staying in downtown.
And then we had to we practice.
And
we
dumped
a few out.
So there's for sure going to be like a learning curve.
Yeah.
On a different system.
Not to say they can't do it, but
there's going to be challenges.
Are they better marketer, like beer enthusiasts of it all, than they are the brewers of it? But that's
because you would think on some level they had to bring recipes to everybody did. Right. They all had to bring recipes to these places. So on some level they're brewers.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm not saying they're not, just wondering, is it as good at their own space versus these spaces?
Well, you gotta get space first.
Gotta get space. Yeah.
But I think ultimately though, what would make sense for everybody is probably, if you can, have your relationships with your pilot projects, with your brew yards, and then also have your own space.
Yeah.
Right? And then at your own space, you fucking can and distro your beers
Well,
out of your space, and then you remain a fixture at the other space, if that's an option. From a distance, that seems like the ideal move.
That's what Twisted Hippo and Around the Bend kind of wants to do. They've realized they, I don't know, want to be part of the community and that they can, like, I don't know, make a little more money. And the contract, where we're told that District Brew Yards doesn't kick them out of there if they open their own space. So
I think everybody's free to just have their own space still.
and then people would come to District Brew Yards because it's also another option to get, if Twisted Hippo opened back up over here in Irving and on the north side over here to support the community and everything, like, kind of, because that's where they live, that's what they want to do. People in the West Loop aren't going to come up here.
No, it'd be a community play.
Yeah.
You build a brewery wherever whatever you feel is your home.
Right.
Wherever you live, probably.
So I don't know if Funky Town can also do something like that, or they could do both at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like when you talk to the Moores guys, they want to set up shop in Bronzeville.
Okay.
I think they're Southside guys. But I think the Funky Town guys want to set up a little further west. They're not Southside guys.
Okay.
They're closer to like United Center, Garfield Park. They're more like West Side guys.
Okay.
So they would rather be there, I think. That's what it sounds like. So we'll see. But
Yeah, there's a lot of rambling and just more thoughts on what we're seeing, and this is continuing from, like we said last week, or the Illuminated thing. It's about just being part of the community, and that's what's making these brands succeed.
Yeah, I was telling this one of the Funky Town guys, and I forget, they're all super cool, but I suck at names. But I'm like, yo, you know, my kids by Navy Pier, we go see fireworks all the time. I'm drinking beers at Navy Pier, and I'm asking the lady, because I saw a Funky Town there, so I'm like, let me get that. And I'm like, what beers are selling here? And she's like, dude, it's unreal how much fucking Funky Town we're selling. She's like, after Rev and Modelo, over like a 2-week period, Funky Town's coming in third. And I'm telling him that, and he's like, yeah, us being able to self-distro has been huge for us, because we can make relationships.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's something to think about too when they go. When you get your own space, you might want to just keep it to whatever I think it's like 6,000 barrels in Illinois. You might want to just keep it under that, and then you sell these beers, and people, you know, versus being lost in the chain of a major distributor.
Right, because we talked about Half Acre, but in a sense, the Half Acre almost gets lost at this point because it's everywhere, and it's also like, well, I don't know, I can get a Half Acre beer, but then maybe I'll get this Funky Town because I haven't heard about it, or it feels even more local.
It feels more local because it's not in the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
That's a weird.
It's weird that we respond to it like that, but it's true too.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Illuminated thing. Like, oh shit, you guys are way the fuck northwest. I never go there. Oh, I see you at a party. Oh, that's the first thing I'm getting is let me get that.
Right.
It feels more local when it's not in the chain. Interesting. Oh, whew.
We got nowhere and we got everywhere.
Shout out to BiXi, man. I fell in there for a pint.
Again?
I didn't go. Remember they were fucking closed. We've been talking about it. I'm like, I'm going in until they open. So I get there. No one's on the first floor. So they're fucking closed on the first floor. Everybody's upstairs.
Okay.
BiXi upstairs is different from downstairs. The whole vibe is brighter. It's all white. It's got a bunch of fake fern plants everywhere and shit.
I've only been upstairs.
Okay. It's like a fucking...
Well, I had to be downstairs first.
You had... Yeah. Would you go up the back?
I've been downstairs,
But you went straight upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of feels like if you're at a hotel bar, like in on islands or something.
That's true. And the doors are open because there's like a patio or like a balcony, I guess.
And there's tons of liqueurs from everywhere. Like the entire wall is all fucking liqueurs. It's very bizarre.
Okay.
Oh, so anyway, I get 2 beers, and I'm like, yo, I was here in the winter, and we heard Pipeworks was taking over. And he's like, I didn't start in the winter. I started in April. But the same dude who brews at Pipeworks is also our head brewer.
Okay, so that confirmed.
So it's confirmed.
That was a weird, I didn't start the fire. There's a fire.
I wasn't here. I wasn't on fire when I got here, but there's a fire.
There's still a fire.
There's still a fire. So what are these beers, man?
Shit. All right, so Pipeworks is brewing. The head brewer is the same head brewer.
It's the same head brewer for Pipeworks and BiXi. Yeah. So they only got 4 beers at BiXi.
This
Yeah.
is so. We talked about this when we heard about it happening, but it's so bizarre that BiXi exists when it's not a brewery anymore. It's Pipeworks. It's just.
I mean, they have brewing equipment.
It's the equivalent of second Hidden Hands and Solomos. At this point, like, you're the same person doing these beers. You are just testing things over here.
It's a pilot program for Pipeworks, essentially.
Yeah.
But for now, they're still making what you would call like BiXi inspired beers to match with the food. They got so much food there, all this Asian food, right? So, for example, the Kolsch is made with jasmine tea. The wit beer is no, the wit beer just looks like a wit beer, and then there's a double IPA.
Because these aren't beers that you would think of Pipeworks making. That is the like strange part of it.
Right. And then what kind of system they got? Because they only got 4 beers, man.
Well, it's got to be there like one day a week, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
They're open Monday and then Wednesday to Saturday.
There's so many weird. Like, that's also weird. Like, why don't you just hire someone else? Like, there's not like a person that wants to be an up and coming brewer that's like, I'm gonna take this over and be in charge of it.
I have no idea what's going on. Well, BiXi is the same crew that owns Lawman and Eagle that just closed. So
Or
it sounds.
Owen and Engine. That's
Oh,
just
sorry, you're right. Owen and Engine, not ampersands. I get them confused. Yeah, Owen and Engine closed, but that's the same crew that owns BiXi.
Right.
This whole thing where another brewery comes in and takes over your beer program, and you are a brewery. To your point, that's I've never heard of that before. That's a little weird. Yeah, it's a little weird. But that's what's going on at the old BiXi.
So you just had beer, no burger.
No, I had some kind of pasta dish.
Okay.
And then I had 2 beers, and then I got out of there. I just wanted to see what was going on with the beers.
I do want to make it there and revisit this burger because it's basically the Owen and Engine burger.
Right.
But need to revisit it and try it again.
Yeah. So.
Damn. All right.
Yeah. So it made a few rounds, man. It was fun. It was fun to get around. I hadn't gotten around like that in a long time.
Okay. Did you say Afterthought?
Oh yeah. Shout out to Afterthought, man. That's in Lombard.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like Afterthought stuff. There's saisons, okay, just saisons and and non-okay. Oh, but they got like 6 pages of beers, and then like all of them are fucking guest drafts. Guest bottles. So I started with the was because they brew at Beguile. And it was a cherry table beer. It was fine. It had a cool name, Bourgeois Dreams. It wasn't my favorite, so I'm like, well, let me get a cherry beer from fucking Belgium. So I got one of those.
Okay.
And I noticed both times that he brought proper glassware out both times, and I was like, oh shit. I love what you guys are doing. He's like, yeah, the owners love European styles, and they want to they're inspired by Belgium. So you go to Belgium, if they don't have the glass, because too many people are drinking the beer, they won't sell you the beer. So every beer they have comes with the glassware from that brewery. So I'm like, I'm kind of here for this. So, me as a fancy cup enthusiast,
right.
I'm kind of like, I will come back here just for this. I don't give a fuck where it is.
But Afterthought is a brewery.
Afterthought is a brewery, so I didn't drink anything from Afterthought.
But it's sort of like the Lunar.
It's kind of like Hop Leaf.
But it's like the Lunar where we have beer, but we also have lots of other beer.
Yes.
From everyone else.
Yes.
And you might want to drink them.
You might want to drink them. Well, we might want to drink them at Lunar because Lunar beers they might miss. The Afterthought beers are good.
Okay.
It's not a direct parallel, but...
And Afterthought's in Lombard? Where? Are they close to Noon Whistle? Stuff's gotta be. It's like
I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't know where the fuck I was at. I was out... It's, it's west. I want to say it's by, like, Lombard or Oakbrook or something.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like it's out there. I feel like I would say yes.
Right.
But, you could be in the suburbs and, Downers Grove might be 15 miles away.
True.
Even though it's
but
all
if it's
west.
over that way, you got Moores, you got Alter, you got Noon Whistle, you got Lunar.
The old Lunar.
Yeah. And then you got, there's another one in there, Oak Park Micro.
No, there's
I thought there was one with a town name.
Elmhurst.
Elmhurst.
Elmhurst has a brewery.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Phase 3. Their Elmhurst location opens tomorrow.
Shit. Okay.
They took they have a chef that worked at the Chirisoko room in Cindy's.
Okay.
And they had a friends and family night. I didn't. My invite got lost in the mail.
Mine too.
But they open to the public Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to drive out there? We need to do a little road trip.
I mean, it's a lot closer than going to fucking Lake Zurich.
Monday's a holiday. I wonder if they're open.
They are. I'd like to get to the bottom of the P3 thing before Tuesday.
All right, maybe we road trip Monday.
I'm not against this.
Okay.
That works for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else? I think on the last episode we mentioned all these Oktoberfest events happening. There is the Brewers Triangle one happening. There is sketchbooks coming up.
Spiteful. Metro and Ravinia.
Right, and then Goose Island 312 Day.
Who I never know any of these fucking bands, do you?
No. And not that I think anything's going to happen to Goose Island, but if you're even on the fence, I would go because of the state of the industry. It feels like it's scaling back on a whole.
Oh, for sure.
So I think you should go. If you haven't been to 312 Day, you should definitely go this year. Because, not that I don't think it'll happen next year, because it probably will happen next year, but you never know what could happen with the state of the industry, and you should go and enjoy these events. It's sort of like anytime Half Acre does a party, like the Big North. I missed that one that was on the beach. I could have went to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't go.
Yeah, and that was the only one.
That was the only one.
Yeah.
And I was like, why?
Why? Yeah. Why? What were you doing that you couldn't?
Why did I miss that?
And I hear people talk about that as the best party of all time.
So if you have the chance to go to any of these events, I think at the moment, especially in the beer world, you should treat them as like these might not be here, and you could be like in a moment where it's like, all right, this like really cool street festival may be different next year.
Yeah, the fact that it's free, and I don't think Goose is gonna close or anything, but shit, their parent company is scaling back, so it might look different next year. It might not happen next year. Let's be honest.
It could just be like they
might not fucking
have the
happen.
other spaces. They could just be like garage scale it. The West Loop could be built up in a year, even more so than it is now. And it just might be like the city might be like, nah, we're not letting you shut down the streets.
Yeah, for as much shit as we give Goose, that's an excellent party. Yeah. They blow it out with all the BCS shit. They blow it out with just about every beer they make.
And last year we went the BCS line. You could go through so fast. You're just like, here's my token, pick it up and walk out.
To be honest with you, man, I'd rather go to 312 Day than go to Prop Day. Prop Day is usually, gross and cold. A bunch of fucking assholes everywhere. There's a fire and a garbage can to keep warm. Now you smell like smoked meat.
Stay in the fenced area.
I think I've been to both, and I think I like Block Party more than I like Prop Day.
So go to that. It's coming up later in September, and I just think don't miss it this year.
I think you're onto something. I know it's tough to get out the house, but I don't think you'd regret that one.
I feel like there's like something in the air that's like take advantage of like all these opportunities you have right now.
No, it's real shit. And then Goose is a 30-year-old brewery, 35, maybe even 36 now. It's the oldest brewery in Chicago, and they have a vault of beers that compares to nobody else.
They're part of the 88 crew.
Class of 88.
So we are.
And we're in 2023, right?
So that's 35, right?
35 years. Yeah, it's a good chance to just kind of celebrate the modern brewery grandfathers. This is the granddaddy of them all right here.
Yeah.
This is Goose. So they're the oldest brewery in town, and they throw a very cool party, and it's a free party, and all the beers are relatively affordable when you go. So
I believe they're all $5, right?
See.
Just you get different sizes depending on the $5, which I think that $5 is a good price because you're like, well, I'll have 4 beers. Here's $20. might be more now, but that feels like the good price where you're like, okay, they could probably go like, what, like $8 or $6? Yeah.
We should go.
We will go. We will.
Fucking A.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Nick, where can people find you, get in touch
Hey,
when we're
man.
not on the moon?
I'm on Twitter at Nicosio. Man, these cans look good, man.
Twitter, BRAD, Chicago Beer Pass, everywhere Chicago Beer Pass. And we'll be back next week. We are actually going to do our showdown of Old Fitzgerald Bourbon County with VSOJ.
Right? 2-year barley wine versus 2-year barley wine.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is on the heels, on the, I don't know, Black Friday will be about a month away at that point.
Yeah. That's wow. We've been sitting on this for like damn near a year.
It's finally going to leave the backdrop for anyone that watches the
It's
YouTube
pretty.
video.
It is pretty.
Well, we can always just leave the box and the bottle in there.
I'm sure we can find another one if we want.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's cute. It's cute.
All right. That'll do it. Take care.
Cheers.